Well, we're going to go through all the 2-year-olds now. Talked about in the opening, the O'Briens this week. The training set for this week. Pretty good training set. I haven't talked about the Barns yet, but I did want to start with the 2-year-olds. So the 2-year-olds, we graded them all at Christmas time. It's good. I kept all the marks I gave them all at Christmas time, so I'm impressed with some of them. Some other ones have fallen a little bit, but are on their way back up. I haven't seen anybody that looked really impressive at the start, and then they're like, just kind of so-so now. Somebody had asked about Can't Deny My Spirit the other day. Can't Deny My Spirit was very, very good, amongst our best for quite a while, and then we castrated him and gave him lots of time, and he's just coming back now. I noticed after the mile, he was really making it in the turn coming after Holy Chick, and I really want to go with this colt at some point, but it's not really necessary because he's doing everything right. But rest assured, I'm still very, very happy with him. So let's start from the top. Adrenaline Rush. It was funny because I ran into the breeders of Adrenaline Rush the other day. Breeders of Adrenaline Rush the other day, and they were asking, he's always in a cheaper set, and what do you really think of him? I said he's lazy. He's a lazy horse, but at the same time, he's impressively lazy, if there's such a thing. I know James didn't like him, and that's half the reason I kept putting James on him, was really just to annoy James. But he grew on him, and now James actually really likes the horse. Like to see him finish off his mile. Now, it was a little deceiving the other day. James said, when I came with a rush, he should have blew right by. But I don't think James realized, set the mood. I kind of had him in idle because he wasn't perfect, right? He was good, but he made a couple of breaks, and I wanted to keep him contained, but I did want to win. And when James got to my saddle pad, I put him back in gear, and I don't think James really knew how much pace, how quickly Set the Mood picked up speed as he got to me. When he was coming to me, it looked like it was going to be like he was just going to blow right by, but we really picked up speed. Geez, that hurts. We really picked up speed in the last 100 yards. So I was very happy with Adrenaline Rush. Again, this is going to be a big colt. And that's the beauty. You get to see the horses grow. A couple of them, I haven't seen them for a little while, and you look over like, oh my God, that horse is huge now. Rose Run, Why Not, is one. She's a giant now. Anyway, we'll stick to it. Adrenaline Rush, I was very happy with him. Argento did his work very well. Now, I had a C beside Argento. He's clearly better than a C right now. Looked very, very good. Barbie's Crown, as I said, was scratched yesterday. I'm going to give her a few weeks off. I talked to Steve, my buddy from Missouri, and I had told him she's a little light, and that curb carried some heat the other day, and I don't really know why. When I got home, her leg was huge. It was clear that she had some surface infection, and we cleaned it up. A couple of days of penicillin, she was cleaned up. I think today was her last day or 5th day of penicillin, but her curb still remained hot, but she's not sore on it. It doesn't appear to be bothering her, but I would like to get to the bottom of it, and in doing so, I stepped back and looked at the whole horse and said, okay, she's done everything I've asked her to do, exceeded my expectations, impressed the hell out of me. She is a little bit light. She's hyper all the time, so it's hard to keep weight on her. So why don't we just take her to the vet, make sure there's nothing wrong with the curb, which I don't think there is, and turn her out for a couple of weeks. So that's what we're going to do with Barbie's Crown. I tell you guys all the time, we try to treat the horses on a case-by-case basis when we can. Sure, nobody has as many yearlings as we have in Canada. No one. But we need to understand that this isn't just a long train of yearlings, and if they fall off, they fall off. I think when it comes to horses like Barbie's Crown and a number of other horses, we treat them differently when we have to. So Barbie's Crown, very impressed with her all year. She hasn't done anything wrong. It's been a treat to go with her, and I'm going to turn her out for a couple weeks. Let her relax a little bit, get that curb under control, whatever's bothering her there, and put some weight on her. That's number one. I'm going to turn her out, and my number one ask will be put 100 pounds on her. Call me when she's 100 pounds heavier. Beef and Cheddar doesn't need any weight. He doesn't need anything. Beef and Cheddar, I gave him a B- around Christmas time, but he's well up into the A's now. This is, for all intents and purposes, I would say he's our best horse right now, our best pacer. There's a lot of good pacers. Consistency has to be one of the things, and he's just got there now. I'm just looking quick for other pacers that we have that can go, and we have a number of them. First Glance has been great. Cut the Line, she's on rest right now. Captain's Maid's not back training yet. So Admiral, very nice horse. Here we go. Roy Hill. So some nice horses here. I don't think anybody wants any piece of beef and cheddar right now. That's great. I did that all by myself by accident. Nobody wants any beef and cheddar right now. He's been a treat the last 2 weeks, and he's not as good on the front end. We wear an ear hood on him and a closed bridle. And I said to Mary the other day, when you put him in gear, he'll dance, and he does. But I forgot to tell him he's not quite as good on the front. But you could see he was beat another horse, the Pacing Filly, Well and Down. Another beautiful, a really nice horse. Had him beat halfway down the lane in beef and cheddar once he got a look at her. Sized her up and took back the lead. He just does everything. You know what? He didn't remind me of his sister until we castrated him. Now he does. I guess there's a reason for that. But just a real treat the last little while to go with. Horse that I was very, very impressed with for a number of reasons. I'm going to take my time in this list. Horse that I was very impressed with for a couple of reasons was Braemar the other day. James had put a hood on him. I never went with Braemar except for the first day, and he was just bad kicking that day. But I hadn't gone with him after that. James always goes with him. He protects him. He likes him. He had a hood on him and a Murphy blind and a line pole on the outside. And he had him hung up good. He was steering great. He said, he's just a little too quiet with that hood on. I said, no, he was perfect. The horse, looking at him physically, is a few weeks behind the other horses. And he stood in the stall for 2 weeks when we had those OCDs out. That was his first fast training mile on a very taxing, difficult track, in with some of our best horses. So I was very happy with Braemar. You can see, definition-wise, he needs some more weight. He needs some more muscle. That will come. Looking at the video, I thought his hobbles were too tight. I had told the caretaker today to let those hobbles out 3 holes and see how he's pacing next week. I couldn't be happier with Braemar. I didn't really know what my expectations would be going into this training set, but he checked all the boxes for me yesterday. I was very, very happy with him. Better's Hope, I had to go back. I looked on the bottom of the screen and looked again to see who that was coming with a big rush in the last turn. Now, I think he put a step in and the guy just steadied him. Who's going? Might have been Steve going with him. I think he just steadied him, but I think if he had just kept him in gear and kept him trucking, I went with that horse. I was worried that, some of the Better's Delights can be a little cranky, like Keystone Raven, fast, but as James said, that seems to be the MO for a lot of the Better's Delights. They kind of just underwhelm throughout the middle of the spring, and then when they see the gate, it's go time. And you look at a horse like Keystone Raven, well-bred, great gait, no issues. I suspect that's what's going to happen with her. You look at a horse like Better's Hope. He was all business the day I went with him. I couldn't be happier with him, and I was very happy with his mile the other day. It wasn't a jaw-dropping mile, but that move he made in the last turn was impressive. I just need him to finish those off. But I was happy with him the day I went with him. Blue Monk got dumped yesterday, shied away from something, get into the snow. Blue Monk, I personally believe, for those of you who care, is going to be a beef and cheddar situation when I start going with him. I really like this horse. And I'm not being arrogant when I say when I start going with him. A lot of these guys that go with the horses, Wayne's trained horses forever, knows the horse. But maybe a little sheepish about putting him in gear and winding him up and getting him to do his work, where that's exactly what I want to see. I want to see what their strengths are, what their weaknesses is, where their tipping point might potentially be, and then keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that to see how they are. And Blue Monk, I'm actually eager to go with him the next time, and I want to see how he is. But aside from the little mishap yesterday, he was fine after, he was fine before, and I'm sure he'll be fine throughout the spring. Brilliant Corners is just starting back now. He'll be in the next drone session, but we had the OCDs taken out of his hocks and Captain's Maid's ankle. And Hawk, did she have 2 or 1? No, she just had 1. Little ankle, right hind little ankle one. We had those taken out, so they'll be in the next drone sets. They didn't go to yesterday. Broadway Roll, I was a little surprised. The breeder, I think he was a breeder, Pete, the breeder, and him and his partner still own shares in Broadway Roll. Now, I had updated them as far as we had our fluoroscoped, had our x-rayed. They thought there was some density issues with her sesamoid. Now, that can mean a lot of things. What it does mean is there's no fractures, there's no cracks, but she was favoring it a little bit. All they could find was there was a little roughness on the sesamoid, which is fine. You could cryo that, but as I said to Pete, he asked a very valid question. He said, why wouldn't we just cryo it now? Well, we could, but the reason the vet didn't want to do it now, because they know they'd have to do it again in June. It doesn't work forever, and as the horses mature and that those little structural weaknesses, if you will, fill in on their own. They don't need those cryos anymore, those cryo marks anymore. So they were hoping we could get her through. And I believe after we blistered her the other day, I was very impressed with her yesterday. He thought she was a little lacking. I believe that Mario was just a little self-conscious, understood the situation, and really didn't want to push her, which I was completely fine with. Truthfully speaking, nobody wanted any part of Surreal Love yesterday. I'm not even sure Beef wanted any part of him, but he's just sprung up. We'll get to him in a minute. So Broadway Roll, I was very happy with. I think the B that we had her on is solid right now for Broadway Roll. Has always done her work well, tries to do more, and has the right work ethic. And that's what's gonna wow me the most. Your intelligence, work ethic, and overall attitude. So, who do we got? Cambridge Star. He did what he could yesterday. Wayne moved him 2 or 3 times. I noticed he's getting a little muscle now, starting to look good. I'm happy about this horse. He may not be a stake horse at all in Pennsylvania, but he's going to be a fun horse to race, I think. He's got a good attitude now. He's got a nice gait, and he's handy, right? I never see him making breaks anymore, I don't think. He just goes out and does his work, and that's that. I was happy with him when I went with him. I've never gone with him in a drone, but in the days leading up to the drones, I've gone with him plenty of times, and I thought he's been just fine. Can't deny my spirit. I think you're going to see him take a run at the throne again, take a run at the title here in the next couple of drone sets. He looked good yesterday. He's really getting back into the swing of things. Hopefully now that we've castrated him, that leaping around and goofing off is gone, I would suspect, and will stay gone. Can't Muscle Me, both her and Tipsy and Dixie, I'll talk about her in a minute, but Can't Muscle Me just felt confident yesterday in her work. I was very, very happy with both those fillies. Definitely saw some real progression from both Can't Muscle Me and Tipsy and Dixie yesterday. Captain's Maid will be going back training this week. She'll probably see her first mile Wednesday if the weather's fit. If the weather's fit, and she's been jogging all week and looks great. Carry a Big Stick, just 3 weeks of light jogging with him. Same type of thing we did with Britska, same type of thing we're doing with Cut the Line and GW Chrome. I just want to let them get their feet back underneath them and their legs underneath them. As I say all the time, kind of a cliche thing, but when I say it all the time, when the horses talk, make sure you're listening. And these 3 horses in particular, I've said they just need to back off with them a little bit. All 3 of them got really good speed, got great attitudes and work ethics. I certainly have no problem backing off with them. Cut the Line, as I said, same as Carry a Big Stick. She looks great on the track jogging. Just needs to get her legs back underneath her. Certainly no concerns there. Darling Please is back eating good now. She was sick the other day. You guys will get a good look at her in the coming weeks. She's got a little pop to her. I like her. We'll see. I've only gone with her once or twice. I've liked what I've seen. And I think there's a lot more there to offer. Desperado was decent yesterday. B- I think is pretty fair for him from Christmas time. If he can continue right through till qualifying time as a B- type horse, I think we'll all be happy. Eternity Road, I'd say, looking at the horse, what he's done, the entire body of work of Eternity Road from day one, he's our best horse right now. I think that goes without saying, and that's not being biased. I don't own any of Eternity Road. I never got an opportunity to, and I doubt I ever will. I love Won My Heart Hanover and a host of other horses, but calling a spade, Eternity Road appears to be our best horse right now. January 25th, 2020, it appears that Eternity Road is our number 1 leader, and I suspect he may stay there for a little while also. Maybe right through, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. He's just a very good-looking horse with lots to offer and very impressive-looking animal on the track, both physically and then as he does his work. Just a really nice-looking horse. First Glance did everything right. Made a little break the other day, but he's been doing everything right all along. Just a nice horse. Again, we get 2 gray horses, and both of them seem like they have tons of talent this year. So I'm cheering for First Glance, and definitely also the other pacing filly, Gray is the New Red. Fox Valley Britska made a little break the other day, but I think James knew why. He had told me after he won the training set on Tuesday with him, 2:35, he said he was good. Said he was running in a bit, but I just don't think they wanted to change anything just yet and stir some feathers. And I think there needs to be a few little of equipment changes with Britska. He needs something in his mouth, because when he gets angry, he really bites down on that bit. It makes it hard to control him. So I'd like to add something to his mouth, put that Murphy Blind and Line pole on the left, and I think he'll be right back on track. But I was very impressed with him Tuesday. Made a couple little breaks on Friday. No big deal. But I think he's coming on definitely Definitely on his way to climbing out of the C's into the B's, that's for sure. Frilly Fringes was very good again. Just got nosed out by Mario. Amy was trying to tell me she won. Not from my vantage point on the video, she didn't win, but definitely worth a mention. Frilly Fringes, Mario loves her. Just a nice filly in general. Southwind Frank filly, we have 2 of them. I love both of them, and Frilly Fringes did well. Girls with Swirls has been doing great. Just asked her for way too much the other day. Not a big deal. Nothing wrong with tiring them out once in a while, and Colt definitely tired this guy out. This girl out. She made 2 or 3 or 4 moves in the mile and a half, and then got a little tired on the end of it. But certainly everything we've asked her to do, she's done. Gray as the New Red looked great. Can't say enough about her. Love both these gray horses. This filly, no boots, no poles, does everything right. Just a real trooper week in and week out. GW Chrome's backed off now for about 3 weeks. Nothing wrong with that. He's worked hard and he deserves a little bit of a rest. I'm very happy with what I've seen from GW Chrome. I suspect that trend will continue right into the summer. Holy Chick, amongst our best. You know, I say this all the time, call a spade, but Holy Chick has done everything right for quite a while. Impressive on Tuesday, very impressive on Friday. One of our top 3. Was she the top? Number 2. She was number 2 the other day, but easily could have been number 1. Italian Grit got castrated the other day. We're just waiting for him to come forward. He was a little bit late behind everybody else, so not the end of the world. Eglaire AM was very good. Eglaire AM made a little break at the wire. I think he was just asking for a lot, and there was a mile and a half there in front of her, and she's just coming off OCD surgery. Eglaire AM, I think you guys, I'd said this before the OCD surgery. I'd sent some emails out about the ownership dynamic of her. You guys are going to be very interested in Eglaire AM very soon. I'm certain of that. I'm a Lovely Lady dusted everybody on Tuesday. Eternity wrote everyone, and then made a break on Friday. I'll go with her next week. I'm very interested to see what she's going to look like for a number of reasons. Any one of them being also that we have our mares in full to my MVP, and I'm a Lovely Lady is my MVP. I'm Hill on Wheels. I'm sure was a little disappointing to the clients that own him the other day, but I was happy with what I saw on Thursday. I really think the head pull and just his lack of experience using the trotting hobbles, and people may not understand what I mean by that. Horses, you can just throw the hobbles on. Some of them take to them right away. Other horses need to get used to them. And I think Hill on Wheels is one of those horses, just needs to get used to them. And if you watch the end of the mile, at the end of the video for that set, he was trotting well, trotted through that turn eventually and into the backstretch. I think it was just him getting used to the head pull and everything that was going on. But he'll be fine. Jazzy Judy, I'm going to start going with her. I know I keep threatening, we'll turn her out. How can we turn her out in the muck? If it's a winter wonderland and they're out running in the snow, fine. But if they're just standing out there in the mud, there's not much point turning her out just yet. So I'm going to put the hobbles on Jazzy Judy. I think you're going to see a significant difference in Jazzy Judy the next time she goes. Jesse Balboa, the vet's got to trim his epiglottis. A bunch of technical garbage, but it's not a big deal. I was very happy with what I saw him the other day, but he's entrapped. So it happens from time to time. It's not something that happened here. It's something he was born with, something that's easily fixed. Nothing like the Forged in Fire scenario, so I'm not concerned. He may actually miss the next drone session. We'll see. Keystone Raven, I mentioned her at the start about the Bettor's Delights. She's got lots going on for her. She needs to do more, yes. She reminds me a lot of Wiggle Delight. And Wiggle Delight took a mark of 53 as a 2-year-old, made 40,000. Left some money on the table, but Keystone Raven, again, we're going to wait for the Bettor's Delight and the good breeding to kick in. We're going to keep her covered up for a little bit, just till she gets her legs underneath her. But doing everything right, really nice filly, well bred. I've always been happy with her, and I'll continue to be. Let's Roll On. I know he didn't get to his 3rd clean line in a row, but he just knuckled over in that deep, mucky crap that was on the track towards the end of the day. But he's been good, and I've threatened to take him to Mohawk now. His training partners are just on jogging rest, so to speak. So I don't know if we'll make it over. If Kevin has a spot, I know Kevin, Harry, Jason are training a pile of the 3-year-olds this week. If they have an empty stall in the trailer going over to Mohawk next week, I might throw this guy on, go buzz him a little bit. He doesn't need to go fast, but I would like to get him over Mohawk, let him see that there's more to the racing world than these tiny tracks, because he's a big boy. Lincoln Hanover, Mario and I talked in depth about Lincoln Hanover this morning. He wants to put the hobbles on him. We're going to work with him this week. Miss Meringue was great. You watched her how she powered through the end of her mile, but James had let her hobbles out a little bit. I think he regretted doing that afterwards, but you could see that she had a ton of raw power on the end of the mile. Mama Knows Best has been doing great. She was fantastic on Tuesday. Not so fantastic on Friday, but I'm sure she'll bounce right back. Momo, I'm probably due to go with Momo again. Soon. I was very happy with what I saw when I went with her last time. We'll get her going again this week. I'll get a good look at her. My Jazz, Mario liked her. Said she just rolled off at the end of the mile and a half in the deep stuff. Might have been lots for her, but he liked her. He said she did everything right. No Free Lunch. We had just castrated No Free Lunch. He's been doing really, really good. In fact, Danny, we almost didn't castrate him. Last week. But he was slated to be castrated. The vet showed up just after we trained him. Danny said, geez, he trained so good. And I said, hold on. I had said there'd be no Sunshine Beach studs in the barn in 2020. And unfortunately, No Free Lunch is a Sunshine Beach. So we castrated him. I shouldn't say unfortunately. I don't mind Sunshine Beach. But what I meant was he is a Sunshine Beach. We were going to castrate them. And we did. So No Free Lunch is now a gelding. Northern Blizzard has been a gelding for a while and was awesome. On Tuesday was awesome. The week I went with him. Made a little break yesterday. Now John Downey owns a good chunk of Northern Blizzard, and he went with him. I'd said to John, you really got to put him in gear, this horse, and put him through his workout. Make sure he's in the right frame of mind. And he was happy with him, but I'm pretty sure I know what took place with Blizzard. If he can get away with stuff, he will. He's still got that stud mentality, even though he's gelded now. And I think it's just a matter of making sure he's on the bit and rolling forward when you go with him. So I don't think I need to go with him for a while. But Danny went with him on Tuesday. He was fantastic. So we'll see how he is this week. Just a matter of knowing him, that's all. Not a big deal. Off-Road Hanover was good. Again, we're going to keep taking more weight off of that guy. If you watch this guy's gait, he's got that big trappy gait where he folds up into his elbows almost, and he could get to his elbows. So we have 9/16 on him now, I believe. He'll go to even full swedge here, I think, as the spring keeps going on, maybe even something lighter. But very good. That track must have been pretty taxing for him. So he was very good on Saturday. Perfect Record. I didn't realize how good Perfect Record was in his training mile the other day until I watched it. First, his break was because he got interfered with, and then Chris was really flying on the end of the mile, and he finished up well. Really happy to see this horse doing his work well. Rito Sunshine did well again, staying healthy, starting to get stronger and look better. Happy with what I've seen from him. I don't know. I think Chris maybe evacuated the 2-hole a little bit prematurely in the training set yesterday. As I said, no one wanted any piece of Surreal Love yesterday, and Rito Sunshine popped out, and it was a no-no. I think he almost got beat for second if he didn't by Broadway Roll. Rose Run Wanda. We've talked about Wanda. Wanda's on her way to the sale, and I think it's pretty evident why when you watch the videos. She just does her work. She's been in 35 or 40. She's done everything, she's done enough, I suppose, but just not enough to stay. And that's the problem I have, is that she's always looking just to do enough. And that's her attitude. Both her and Try to Tease Me have that same, whatever, attitude. And, they can go twiddle their thumbs, so to speak, somewhere else. Rose Run Why Not made a little break yesterday again. I'm not too concerned. This is a big filly getting around a half-mile track. We may have to tinker with her a little bit, but she's been trotting. She was trotting very good, so could be a growth spurt, could be a number of things, none of which bother me right now. Rose Run Why Not was a B- and still there for me. Round Midnight looked better yesterday, on the line a little bit, doing a few little things we're going to work with, but actually had a little bit of pace. As I said, he was on the list to go to the sale. I just don't think I'll get anything for him, so there'd be no point in taking him to the sale just to lose your shirt, and I'm pretty sure that's what would happen with Round Midnight, so I think he'll just stay, and we're going to have to bite our lip and keep going. Royal Tyrone was very, very good yesterday. Made a little break looking around, being stupid at the start, but when I put him in gear, he really finished off his mile strongly. Very impressed with what I saw from Royal Tyrone. Roy Hill was very good again. Now, I saw John at the start. I think this guy, maybe John thought he was a little too much horse for him. He sat, there's a big set of 8, I think. He sat way back at 8th. And then I told him, I said, let him roll up on the guy's shoulder in front of him. And he get right up on top of him. He made a break. And I think John said, no, I'm not going to do that again. I don't blame him. Not a big deal. But this guy here, you got to keep him on the bit. But at the same time, you can roll him up on somebody's shoulders. It's just, that's what happens when people don't do it all the time. You know, they haven't done it for a while, and then they go up, and again, he might get a little aggressive, get up on top of somebody and make a break, but he needs to be doing that every day. Set the Mood was good. Made a couple little breaks, but you can see he wants to be a good horse, right? He wants to try. He wants to, and you can see the horses that know the difference between winning and losing in these sets. Both Surreal Love and him were impressive yesterday. And when James came to me with Adrenaline Rush, I don't think it was as much Adrenaline. Adrenaline Rush will cower a little bit, but he was coming like a freight train. And I think that Set the Mood just wanted it more yesterday. And I think Adrenaline Rush, it'll take time, but he'll come. And Set the Mood, it's just a matter of keeping him together, keeping him happy, and keeping him sound. So Admirable, James said she might have been a little too quiet yesterday with the hood on, but I'm happy. The filly's doing her work well. She looks good. And I've been very happy with her. B+ at Christmas time, certainly still a B+. Saurus Blue Chip, he'll be in the next set. He had a little reaction when they castrated him, and his scrotum was a little big. It was fine yesterday. I didn't ask how it was today. I assume it was good. Stacy Hanover was pathetic yesterday. And as Steve put it, he discounted. He dismissed my recommendations that she was a nice filly. I think they just chopped the toes off her, just the way it was. She had a bad week. I need to go with her for a little while, get her back on track. Sunshine in May, I saw a filly that tried her heart out yesterday. Now she burned in her hobbles. Different hobbles, let them out a little bit. I think Sunshine will be just fine. Surreal Love, there's the biggest mover of the entire year. I got him marked down as a C. He's of an A and an A+ right now. I don't know how deep he is. He'll tell us around June, but I can tell you one thing. He wants to be an A+. He tries so hard, this horse. Not perfect either. Over on the left shaft a little bit, running in a little bit in the turns, creeps out in the straightaways. I think something right hind and left front bothers him a little bit. We're working on it, and just an impressive looking horse to go with. Got a beautiful gait, got a beautiful demeanor, a good looking animal in his own right. The only downfall is his breeding's a little light, but I'm sure if we look extra hard, we can find something. Somebody sent me something yesterday. His mother made 160,000 or 140,000 or something. But Surreal Love wants to be a good horse, and I hope he is. I too, as Justin emailed me yesterday, I too always cheer for the underdog also. Sweet Ambitions was decent yesterday. Just got a little tired out in that deep going. I think Mark Disco just asked for a little too much. And she did her work. She never run, but she was a little tired going on the wire. Tanzanite Tricks was good also. Horse that wasn't as good was That's My Girl. Made a bunch of breaks yesterday, but all of them in the exact same spot on the track. 3 laps, 3 breaks, all in the same spot. To me, that's pretty clear. She's just touching herself. We got to get her away from that. The Fat Cobra continued to try and be a good horse. Made a couple little breaks yesterday. He's not the soundest horse, but he's getting better and better and better. That's all we can ask for. Tipsy and Dixie, as I said, both her and Can't Muscle Me were fantastic yesterday. They're dialing it in now. They're getting it. They're understanding it. Very, very impressed with both of these fillies. And on the flip side of that coin, Try to Tease Me has been extremely unimpressive. She might be a D at Christmas, but she's an F right now. She's a fail for me. Nice gait, well put together filly. Just a horrible attitude. She doesn't pull up and be rude. She just doesn't care. And both her and Wanda have made it clear they don't want to be a part of the stable.ca, and we've granted them their release on February 11th. Walk on the Moon was very good again yesterday. Very impressed with this colt. Warby was up, made a little break, caused a little mishap yesterday, but he's been good. He was number 8 on my list on Tuesday. Not really that concerned with I don't have any concerns with Warby was up as of yet. Warby Welcome was good again. Didn't make the list because she was 3rd, but she trained great yesterday and looked really, really good also. Well and Down, best trip of her life was yesterday. Very impressed with this filly. And my girl Won My Heart Hanover, unimpressive yesterday. She had a little heel scratch. I pulled up and pulled the bell boots off of her so they didn't irritate the heel scratch. And she just wasn't that good yesterday. And I guess like Stacy Hanover, some days they're not awesome. And she's been one of my favorites. I'm always rooting for her. But, you know, as I say all the time, to call a spade, she was just poor yesterday. I'm sure she'll bounce back. That's all the babies. I guess that's as in-depth as you can get right now. We'll be going again on Wednesday and then back on Saturday. The drone will probably be back in a couple of weeks. Gonna need a couple of weeks by the look of this weather. Rain, and more rain. Anyway, be back in just a minute. We got all the 3-year-olds. Some interesting developments with that. A lot of them. And I'll get you caught up on what's going on with the 3-year-olds. Just a minute.